my kitchen, ready for some science. Don't worry, I'm gonna move that camera so you can see it a little bit better as we get started. Hey, before we move on, there's something I wanted to show you that came home to your parents today in your bag of stuff that came with like your stuff from your desk and things like that. I sent your parents a little rock that says what? Can you read it? You rock. You know, this fourth quarter was very different than any of us thought it would be. We didn't know that I wasn't going to get to teach you in class. I was going to have to do that through videos or by writing lesson plans for what you were doing. I didn't know you were going to have to do school at home, which you don't usually have to do that much school at home. And we certainly didn't know that your parents and grandparents were going to have to be your daily teachers. So that was a big change for all of us, wasn't it? So I just want you to remind your parents that you love them and tell them you rock. They did a great job helping you finish this year strong. Because sometimes we don't always feel like doing school, but you know why school is so important? Because if we don't go to school till August, would I ever want you to miss 5 months of school? No, that's so much time of reading and math and learning and science and social studies to do. So thank you guys for doing a great job. Okay, let me show you what we need for today's science experiment. First of all, what is it? It's a fruit called a lemon. Yes, it's a lemon. Have you guys ever like licked a lemon? Like you can try it today if you want to. If you open a lemon, lick it and see what you think it tastes like. It's a little bit sour. That's because it has a little acid in it, a little acidic in it. We're going to talk about that in a minute. You need a lemon. If you don't have a lemon, or if your neighbor doesn't have a lemon, or the neighbor across the street, or your grandma or grandpa, you can also just use lemon juice. I had both. Actually, these are from my neighbor's tree, but this is just from my fridge. I'm actually going to use lemons today, but you can use either, okay? So let me show you what you're going to do. First, you can see I kind of already did it. You got to cut your lemon in half. The reason you're going to cut your lemon in half is because you're going to squeeze the juice into this bowl, whatever bowl you have. I already squeezed this one, you can see, but I got another one. You really only need one. I'm just showing you. It doesn't matter if you get, because you don't need that much lemon juice. So just do your best to get the lemon juice out. When you cut your lemon in half, I used a knife. Please make sure moms and dads do that for you, or they're helping you with that so that you don't cut yourself, okay? Now, you're also going to need a Q-tip, just like we used in our first science experiment. This is what you're going to do. It's just straight lemon juice. You can even see I have some seeds in there, right? It doesn't matter if there's seeds in there. I'm going to dip my Q-tip in here, and now I'm going to write a message on my paper, okay? Let's see. I'm just going to write a little bit of it. Do you see that I'm writing it? Let's see if I can make it so you can see it. And then I'm going to write this one a little bit different since I have a different one to show you. So you can kind of see when it's very wet, it looks like this. Kind of, can you see my star right there? Now, this science experiment takes about 15 minutes of waiting. So after you've written your message, I want you to just leave the paper out to dry. If you've written a secret message for somebody in your house, like a Mom You Rock message, if you've done that, then don't leave it where they can see it, because while it's wet, you can still actually see what it is because the paper is wet a little bit. But after about 15 minutes, it becomes hard to see. You can kind of see it, but you really can't see it. You can see that maybe there's something, but it's really kind of difficult to see. So that's after I folded mine in half to make it even a little harder to read. So there's my paper after it's dried. This is about 15 minutes after it's dried. Then what you're going to do, this is the second part of the experiment. So we're making invisible ink. So you just made invisible ink. Now the cool thing about lemons, this is a fruit. Remember, fruits have seeds inside them. You can see even kind of my seeds inside that lemon. Lemons they're called acidic. They have a little bit of acid in them, and if you lick them, they feel a little tart. They also can be a little bit hard on your teeth if you have too much of them, like if you chewed on them or something like that, because they have acid in them. Well, guess what that acid does to paper? It doesn't put a hole in the paper, but it does, like say that the paper is very thin. Right where you put that lemon juice, it makes the paper even thinner. It kind of damages the paper, but not so much that it puts a hole in it. Now, there's a couple ways that you can make your invisible ink show. I'm going to show you my favorite way. Let me tell you the other ways in case you want to try them, but they don't work as great. They work, but I'm going to show you the way that I think works the very best. Okay, so say I take my paper. It's dried now. I can't quite read what it says. I don't know. I have a secret message. I'm now going to give it to somebody, and I'm going to tell them how to go read the message. Now, one way that you've maybe heard about even is if you hold this up to a light that has heat. So like if I held this up to Ninja's light, I should be able to see what letters are there. I will tell you, when you hold it up to a light, it has to have a heat source, so it can't be like, some lights don't give off heat. It doesn't work very well if it does that. And so sometimes you can read it, but you can't read every single letter. So I like that way, but it's not my favorite way. Another way sometimes I've heard about is, this is my crayon. This is one of those crayons that are twisty, you know, that you can color over it with crayon and you can see what the secret message is. Again, it works okay, but not amazing. With crayons, you know my favorite way to do invisible ink we've done in class before is to use a white crayon, write a message, and then take something else, another one, and color over it, and then that's a secret message. But today when we're using lemon juice, let me show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so here's my message. Now now that it's had a chance to dry, I'm gonna take watercolors. You can see my watercolors are even kind of dirty. They've been well used. So watercolors, I have another thing of water with, another bowl with water in it, okay? So let me make this so you can see what's gonna happen. Okay, so here's my message. Here's my watercolors. Ready? So let's try red, shall we? I'm gonna take my red. Now here's the trick. There's a trick to this. Are you ready for the trick? The trick is when I go over it, if I go too thick, you can't actually see the message, but watch. I can take a little extra water, and then I'm gonna spread it out, and then keep going. So use it, make it a little bit thin. So make the paint a little bit thin on there. Oh, there's something else I wanted to tell you. Look, I don't know if you can see that. Do you see that little red dot? That is because, look, I have a napkin. Because I forgot to tell you, now let me tell you, this is gonna bleed through a little bit because I'm making the paper so thin. So what I did on my final one is I put another piece of paper underneath it, or even if you want to do it somewhere where you're allowed to paint, but it is gonna bleed through the paper a little, but it won't put a hole in it as long as you don't do it too thick. So I can come through, remember, make it kind of thin. Make the paint kind of thin, not super wet, but kind of thin, not too thick. And then, so if you're sending a message to somebody, if you're sending a secret message to somebody, you just say, hey, I wrote you a secret message, and you just have to use watercolor over it to be able to see it. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I made a final for this, but let me just show you this first word, if I can. And I will tell you, the first time I tried it, I had to do it 2 times because I felt like I didn't get enough of the lemon juice on. So if you do it once and you're like, oh, some of my letters aren't showing, just try it again. Okay, let me show you. Can you see what that says? Can you see the word? Let me see, let me go up here a little bit more. There you go. There's our word, science. Can you tell that's an E? If you were here in person, I think you'd be able to tell it. And then, look, so now my secret message is coming out. Let me show you. This is what my secret message says. Science, what's that word? Is fun! Exclamation mark. So, have a great time. Remember, this is totally optional, only if you want to have some fun. But you too can make your own invisible ink and send secret messages to your moms, to your dads, to your brothers, to your sisters, to your aunts, and your uncles. And just write them a message, let it dry, and then just tell them, hey, use watercolors over it, and you'll be able to see the cool message I wrote you. Okay? Bye, first grade. Go do a great job today, and I'll see you tomorrow.